talking about the metaverse today. We're talking about how to be a leader in this virtual universe that we're all living in right now. All of us are all across the world right now, that we're all having this conversation together. I go back to a time when, well, welcome back to, I call it, it's COVID. Everybody remembers COVID. It was a thing that happened. The gift that came out of COVID is this right here. We had to get really good, really fast at learning how to connect with each other remotely. We had to get good at it. How do we get good at it? Well, the first thing is we can't be lazy. Michael absolutely said it. And JB said it first thing this morning. He said the tech exists in order to amplify your skill set, to help you grow as a leader. You are a leader. That is who you are. The tech exists to amplify that. And then Michael went on further to talk about, well, one, it's here. You were going to have to get used to that. And that's absolutely true. He's 100% accurate. The other pieces is we've got to be authentic. We've got to be authentic. We have to be who we are. Now, where I want to go with this in this visibility space, and he's right, keep your cameras on, man. It makes it easier for you to connect with each other. Because as human beings, right, we crave connection. Whether you go out and say, well, I'm an introvert, I don't need that. That's baloney. That's a lie. As a human being, not a human doing, as a human being, we crave that connection in some way. There's a commercial lately that I've been laughing about. It's been out for a little bit, and so everybody knows who the little Geico gecko is, and you guys have seen this before. And I'm not sponsored by Geico. I'm just referencing this. He has the commercial and he says, the real secret is eye contact. And he gets real close to the camera and looks and he goes, you and I just had a moment. It's hilarious because it's true. It's still relative in the metaverse of being visible. Now, here's the other thing from a leadership skills. And if you were following along for the last couple of weeks, we did a poll that came out on this, and it talked about what are still the critical aspects and the critical things that you need to have as a leader in the metaverse to go. One of the things that we talked about was emotional intelligence. How are we emotionally intelligent? How are we connecting with each other through this virtual platform, through this virtual stage, through this remote? I don't want to say just virtual. Let's call it remote. How do we do that? One of my favorite ways, and as an executive coach, this is all of us on here today know, because we're all coaches, the critical aspect to being an amazing coach. It's one thing, the ability to actively listen. Active listening is a component of emotional intelligence. So how do we do it here? We have to engage. We have to engage. We have to pay attention to what they're saying, and from a perspective of not listening to respond. Like, I'm listening so I can get clarity, so I can ask more questions about what's going on. This is how I connect. And I'm gonna give you a little secret here. There was a book years ago, Rich Litvin and his partner wrote a book called The Prosperous Coach. This particular book and this particular chapter changed the way I do business. In this chapter, and I loved it on Audible. Like, I just love the way that they speak. The one character is very gruff and straightforward and very diligent, and the other guy is very Elizabethan English, the way he speaks. And he said, your business is not about you. And we've all heard that, right? We've all heard your business is not about you. And that's true. And let's take it a step further in that. So this is that exercise in active listening. Okay. From this perspective of, if my business is not about me, and as a leader, it's not about me. It has nothing to do with me as a leader. If I have to come and tell you I'm a leader, am I? Leadership is not about me, and neither is my business. Leadership is about my employees, my partners, my consumers, my customers, my clients. It's about them. Now, here, typically the way we look at this and the way we go about this in business, if I were to ask you, if you get up in the morning, I used to ask this question, and I'll use Michael because he was on before me. So I'm just going to use his name as the reference. And I would say, well, what can I do for Michael today? Inherently, that comes from a servant's heart perspective. True. We've all asked this question. What can I do for Michael today? Here's the flaw in that. That's all about me. That's all about me. It's a selfish question. It's the wrong question. Change that, right? So now if we ask it that way, what can I do for Michael? I have to show up in a certain way. I have to now come up with, ideate, and I have to work through and find out what is it that I know? What's the knowledge? What's the skill set? What's the thing that I've got to do to be able to do that, serve Michael today? That puts all the onus on me. That's all the ownership is on me. So now I've got to think, what book did I read? What conference did I attend? Who did I listen to? What information can I get? Change the initial question. What does Michael need today? What does Michael need today? What does my client need today? What does the consumer need today? What does the audience need to hear today? I have to show up in a very different way because now I'm listening a different way. So when we're talking about active listening, I'm going to give you a couple tips and tricks here on this one. A lot of people are note takers, paper and pencil, right? It is almost impossible for you to be a note taker in that perspective and actively listen and connect. What you're doing is taking notes to come back and connect later, but you're not connecting in the moment. You're not having a conversation. Think about when you're over at a friend's house at any given time, you're in person, you're doing the thing. When you don't have a notebook, you're not sitting there taking notes, when you're having conversations about whatever the thing is. When you're sitting at dinner with your family, you don't have the notebook. You're not taking so that you can connect later. Connect with the people in the space that you are now. Don't take notes. Don't sit there and write while you're doing it. Are you going to miss some stuff? Yep, likely. And yet it may not be the stuff that you needed to connect with anyway. Where you need to connect is you need to be able to connect in the moment to your audience, to your client, to your customer, whoever it is, to your employees, if you're in that leadership space, to your reports, if you will. Active listening means engaging. Here's the other thing that active listening means: not listening to respond. That means when you ask a question, tell me more about that. And while they're talking about it, you're not formulating your next sentence in your head of what you're going to tell them. If you're working on that in your brain, you're not engaged with them. You're not actively listening. Here's the trick to that. Here's the path. Here's the skill set as a leader. It's questions. It's questions. You have to continue to ask questions. Now, here's a goofy way to practice this. If you've got kids, your partner, whoever it's going to be, if you've never played the question game, it's hysterical, by the way. You should absolutely play it. It's an absolute riot. The first person to make a statement loses. If you want a great example of how to play the question game, go watch some old, Whose Line Is It Anyway? Drew Carey used to host that show, and they play the question game. It's absolutely, play the game. When you practice playing that game, you start to play that in real life to where you're asking questions, but you're asking them from a place of curiosity, from a place of, I'm looking for more clarity. I want to connect with you. I want to learn more about you. So here's another one for you relative to this. There is one word in the human language, only one, that every single person, it's the most important word to them in the English language, human language. Doesn't even matter if that's your first language. One word, common across everything. It's only one. If you know what it is, put it in Facebook. I'm going to give it a half a second here. See if anybody knows. Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. What is the most important word to every single person? No. There's a couple of them that I'm looking at them watching. All right, so we're not going to play Guess What Jake's Thinking anymore. It's your name. It's your name. The most important word to every single person from a connectivity standpoint is your name. When you get on your Zoom calls, your StreamYard calls, your live calls, whatever you're doing, Teams, pick your platform, does not matter. Use people's names. Connect with them in that space. When I'm talking to JB, hey, good morning, JB. It's great to see you. When I'm talking to Michael, you're looking great today. I love the hat. right? We have to connect because that is one way for us to be able to connect. Now, I'm giving you these few kind of skills. They're not new. They're not new. And this is where JV takes it back. And we talked about this in the beginning. The technology is amplifying and making it easier for us to do what we need to do. Your skills are still the same. You have to apply them a little bit differently because you're not going to be in person. So I totally agree with Michael where he's talking about you've got to be on camera. You got to show up. You got to be visible. Why? Geico Gecko says it's eye contact. I think somebody said it before that, but it's true. Eye contact is a piece. Listening to the tonality in the people's voice so that you can connect with them. I'm going to leave you with this one. There is and I know we're already running way ahead this morning for JB, so I can answer any questions that we have, but let's finish summing up real quick. Eye contact, active listening. We have to participate and listen, right? And that doesn't mean taking notes. That doesn't mean picking up your cell phone and checking emails or doing anything else. It means being engaged. That means being right here. That's what that means. We've got to stay engaged with that, and we got to practice it. We absolutely have to practice it all the time if we're not doing that. Now, we're not going to be in person, and it's important to be on camera because we have to be able to see body language. We have to be able to see skin tone. This comes from neurolinguistics programming stuff, and this is old school language of sales, but it's still true. We have to hear their voice tonality, what's going on with that. Now, here's the one that I use in my coaching practice, and I've used this for the last 10 years, and every one of my coaching clients can tell you that this is true. I start every conversation with a single question, same question every time. And I've asked this question at least 10,000 times. What are you grateful for? There's two reasons that I asked this question in the beginning of the meeting. The first is, it is impossible to be grumpy and grateful in the same space. It's impossible. You can't do it. Neuroscience will not allow you to be grumpy and grateful in the same space. The second is it's a litmus test because I now get to listen and watch as they're answering the question. And over time, doesn't take that long, usually 3 or 4 times, they develop a pattern in how they're going to answer that question. Michael, tell me what you're grateful for today. I'm grateful for my family today. Next week, I'm grateful for my family today. Third week, I knew you were going to ask me that question. What did we observe? Something was different. Something changed. Tonality in the voice changed. Where he looked changed. How the length of time they responded. When you have a marker, you can start to pay attention to how your people are engaging. And now you know you need to go a different direction. And if massive change did not affect it, if I'm in a call with him and he goes, oh man, I knew you were going to ask me that. I got to think about this. And you just march on with your protocol of what you're going to do, you're not connecting with them. You're not leading in that space. So again, where JB talked about, this is amplification of your skills. This is a +1 to everything that you do. And think about the gift that it is. Does it take more work? Yes. But think about the gift that it is. Once upon a time, we were 7 levels of delineation between each other. You had to know 7 different layers of people to be able to find everybody on earth. Right now, we're 1 layer of delineation apart. You literally know through one person that you know because of the size of your metaverse. You know everybody on the planet, and you have the ability to reach everybody on the planet, share your message with everybody on the planet. How cool is that? That is a gift to be able to do. Practice to play the gift. Practice to play. That's what I will tell you in that. So my name is Dr. Jake Clendenning. You can reach out to me at www.total-disruption.com. We'd love for you to come and watch our TV show. We've got a couple of great TV shows. Listen to our podcast. Come to our conferences. Apply to be a speaker. all the stuff and all the things. Like the worst thing that I could tell you is find us on Facebook, find us on LinkedIn, follow us, like, subscribe, go watch the YouTube channel. I would love for you to like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Doesn't cost you anything. You just get quality content. And here's the promise that I'll make you. When you show up in our universe, in our metaverse, we're going to engage with you as people, because we're all still people. And that's the importance of doing it. My name is Dr. Jake Clendenning. I appreciate you guys having the time today.